speaking of big-name guests, we've got one on the phone right now. Kennedale was a squad that we were really interested in watching all year long, and they came through with another outstanding year, a 12-1 record at district championship. And here to talk about the Kennedale Wildcats is the head Wildcat. The head coach of Kennedale is Coach Richard Barrett. Coach, thank you so much for your time.
I appreciate you having me.
I want to ask you first and foremost about last season. Obviously, not the way you guys had hoped that it would end, but overall, I imagine you got to consider last year a pretty solid success.
Well, anytime you're 12-1, you know things have gone well. As you mentioned, it certainly didn't end the way we wanted it to. But there were a lot of good things that happened. A lot of kids did some really, really good things for us. The good news, Greg, is we got 10 defensive starters back and 6 offensive. So we think we got the nucleus and of having a really good team this coming fall.
You mentioned the defense with 10 starters back. Obviously, that's a huge coup for you guys heading into 2016. And it starts, obviously, with your outstanding linebacker, Baron Browning, a guy that is on everybody's recruits list, a guy that everybody's very excited about. As the guy who sees him every day, what sets this kid apart?
Well, he's got some physical attributes that certainly set him apart. When you're 6'3", about 232, and run a 4.5 40, and you can deadlift 630 pounds and run about a 10-800 meters. It makes it where you know everybody in the country is going to come to try to get you, and that's certainly the case with Barron.
With 10 starters back defensively, when you look back to the way your season ended, a 58-34 loss to Argyle. Obviously, Argyle, pretty decent squad themselves, made it all the way to a state championship game. But do you think that gives your defense a little bit of a chip on the shoulder, giving up almost 60 points in a season-ending loss?
Yeah, it does. I tell you what, Greg, it still have a bad taste in our mouth. It's certainly unacceptable. Bottom line, it's unacceptable. And we're trying every way that we can to correct that to where, we can eliminate those kinds of defensive breakdowns. It was just kind of not what we've been all year, but at the same time, Argyle's not a run-of-the-mill team either. So, but we're gonna back down the hatches. We're gonna get better, get stronger, watch more tape, study more, and hopefully we're gonna be better defensively when the season rolls around here.
You know, when we're talking about the 2015 Kennedale Wildcats, we're kind of beating around the bush here because obviously the real star of that team last year was your outstanding running back, Q Wadley. Now off to UTEP. For anybody who maybe a Miners fan who's tuning in, what kind of player are they getting out there in El Paso?
Well, they're getting a kid that's very humble, very unassuming, a guy that's going to do exactly what he's asked to do and then more. It's going to be a yes or no sir kind of guy. Not going to say doodly squat, and he's going to work hard, and he's going to watch and learn from Aaron Jones. He's going to be a great role model for him, and a guy that is out there at UTEP that will probably have a chance to play in the league. And so it's going to be a good situation for Q, and we're excited for him. And
obviously the style of offense they run is so unique, running the ball as much as they do. Obviously, you just want the best for Q and everything that he does. Was there part of you when he decided to go to UTEP that said, yeah, that's a pretty good fit for him?
Well, yeah, absolutely, Greg. It was a good fit. In fact, I had firsthand information about UTEP. My son played there. He was on staff. He coached there for 2 years. And so I got to see a lot of UTEP football games. And when Coach Kugler came in and I was fortunate enough to go out and watch some games in El Paso, I saw what kind of style that they had, and I knew that if everything went right, that Q could certainly be a contributor in that particular type of offense. And fortunately, things worked out. They offered him a scholarship, and he's off to El Paso here in a couple of months.
We're talking with Richard Barrett, the head coach of the Kennedale Wildcats here on DCTF Live. Get involved with the conversation at hashtag DCTF Live. Coach, when you lose a 2,500-yard rusher, especially out of the kind of offense that you run there in the wing T, there's obviously going to be a bit of change there offensively. So what can you tell us about what your offense is probably going to look like next year?
Well, Q goes to UTEP. Our fullback's going to West Texas A&M. So we lose our quarterback. So we're losing 3 of the 4. But the good news is, Greg, we think we have some guys that can step in there. And I'm not saying we're going to have a 2,500-yard rush, but I do think that the kids that we do have in those positions bring a lot of things to the table. Very gifted athletically, can run, very strong, warriors in the weight room. They're coachable. They're good kids. They're good students. So, there's still, but they say it's potential. Well, that just means you hadn't ever done it yet. But I think that they have the makings of being able to do some really, really nice things for us. We're going to find us a quarterback that can do what it is that we want done, running our offense, running some midline, running our veer, and then hopefully rushing the football and playing great defense and being strong in the kicking game. Hopefully we'll have another chance to get a lot of wins.
The topic on everybody's mind this time of year, of course, is UIL realignment. You guys pretty much stay put. District 5 4A Division 1. You guys do drop out. You lose Alvarado, who I imagine you won't shed any tears not having to play them in district play. But overall, when UIL realignment came out, what's your initial reaction of your draw?
Well, you mentioned losing Alvarado, and they had, of course, they're very, very well coached. They've got a great football program, but we lose them, but we gained Mineral Wells, who was 10-3. So it's not like that. We're getting nobody. Mineral Wells is very, very good. Coach Perry has come in and done some amazing things at Mineral Wells, but we really anticipated maybe losing maybe Springtown and gaining Midlothian Heritage. That's obviously not the way it worked out. Geography doesn't make any sense, I guess, when the UIL realigns, because I don't understand this draw at all. But at the same time, we're going to play who we have to play. But it was kind of interesting to see how that all worked out.
I'm very interested in your style of offense. Last year, you guys pretty much didn't throw the ball at all. You threw the ball about 13 times, something like that. You run the wing T. How is it that, and you've obviously been running it for years and years and years, how do you get kids when they're watching the NFL and they're watching college football where they're throwing the ball all over the field, how do you get kids to really buy into what is really an old school style of offense?
Well, it's a good question, Greg, and I've been asked that no telling how many times. It's just something that it's a philosophy that I believe in. Not only do I, but our offensive coaches as well, and our kids. We do the same thing in 7th grade as we do at the varsity. We call everything the same, terminology the same. They don't ever hear anything new. This is all they know. Could they go somewhere else where they're going to get the ball thrown there 40, 50 times? I suppose. And that's something that they could choose to do if they so decide. But we try to stress that, hey, winning is the most important thing. Winning is the name of the game. If you're more concerned about how many touches you can get and how many passes you can catch and how many this and that, what we think is you're an eye player. You're more worried about you than you are about us. And so we are old school, Greg. I have been for 37 years running this offense. I believe in it like no other. With every fiber in my body, I believe in it. And, one interesting question was asked to me about week 5 or 6. I had a reporter call me and says, Coach, when are you going to open it up and start throwing the football? I'm like, well, we're currently averaging 58 points a game. Do you want us to average 65 or 7? I don't understand your question.
Yeah, there comes a point, right, where you say there's only going to be, less. There's going to be fewer returns when you change the offense. Kind of the old "if it ain't broke, don't fix it" mentality.
It is, Greg. And the thing, our philosophy is very simple. We want to keep the ball away from you. We don't want you to have it. If we have it, you can't score. We're going to move the chains, make first down. We're going to milk the clock, score when given the opportunity, and we're going to shorten the game to where each possession that you do have, you're going to need to really do something with it, because we're going to try to be so ground-oriented and eat up the clock and play keep away that and in every game, that's what we want to do. Unfortunately, the last game, that didn't work out for us. But at the same time, that still doesn't change our philosophy. It doesn't change anything about the way we go about game planning. And, offensively, we've got, Kenneth Jowers and George Griffin and Derek Lopez and Jay Beck that do a great job scheming. And they watch a lot of film, a lot of tape, and they do an outstanding job of scheming the opponent. So we're going to keep doing what we're doing, and that's just the way it is.
He's Richard Barrett. He's the head coach of the Kennedale Wildcats, joining us on DCTF Live. Get involved in the conversation, hashtag DCTF Live. Coach, one last question for you. I don't mean to date you, but you have been around this game a little bit. You got 177 wins to your tally. The list of guys who have 200, call it whatever number you want, even 175 wins, that's a class that doesn't take long to call a roll in the state of Texas. Is that something you ever think about?
No, Greg. To be honest with you, it's really not. If that was my focus and my concern, I think I'd be doing it for the wrong reasons. Because I love being around kids. I love working with them. I love working with our coaches. I love the game of football. We're going to take every win that we can get now. I'm not saying that, but in those 177 wins, that's my record. But there's a lot of people that are responsible for those 177 wins, Greg. It's certainly not just myself. So I've been called a dinosaur. That's just one of the nice things I've been called. But I'm going to take it as a compliment to some longevity and being in good health and having a lot of great people, players and coaches around me. And I've had no plans to retire anytime soon.
He is Richard Barrett. He is the head coach of the Kennedale Wildcats, and he will be back at it, adding that win total next year. So, Coach, thank you so much for your time. Enjoy your offseason. I'm sure we'll be talking soon down the road.
Always great visiting with you, Greg. Go Wildcats.
There he goes, Richard Barrett, the head coach of the Kennedale Wildcats.